the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how YEAT made FLYTROOP. We're going to break down his preset. I'm going to explain everything you need to know to achieve this sound. And make sure you stick to the end because there's going to be a free version of this preset included, linked down in the description below. YEAT's sound can be summed up by his deeply processed vocals, melodic sound, and his very atmospheric adlibs. Obviously, this isn't true with all of his songs, but for most of the case, you're gonna hear YEAT being very melodic and having a very atmospheric adlib sound. And also, his vocals are very processed, but in a good way. Also, what separates YEAT from different artists is his use of contrasting sounds. In a majority of his songs, you're gonna hear YEAT having a low tone voice for a little bit, and then right as the listener starts getting bored, he hooks them back in with this higher pitched voice that sounds super heavenly. And the way he gets this done is a very unique vocal chain. And in case you're wondering if you're ever going to be able to sound as good as these artists with their professional 6-figure studios in your home bedroom, don't worry, I got you. There's really only going to be 5 main elements that we got to go over to achieve this YEAT sound, and it is going to be a little bit different than most artists. First, we're going to talk about his use of reverb, then we're going to move on to how he uses delay. We're going to talk about some of the effects he uses, like a flanger and a chorus. I'm also going to show you guys some saturation techniques that can really make your vocals stand out and have presence like YEAT's vocals. And then the last thing I'm going to show you is how to really get that YEAT sound, which I'm not going to tell you yet. You got to stay tuned for the end of the video. Now, although most of this stuff and the preset is very technical and it takes a lot of years to actually learn how to make a preset and how to make a vocal stand out in a mix, you don't got to worry, because if you head over to the link in the description, quintonbaba.com, I have presets to make you sound like any artist you want. But that's enough plugging myself. Let's actually jump into the video, and I want to show you guys exactly how you can achieve a YEAT vocal. Alright, so like I said, we're going to be going over FLYTROOP today. So the first thing I want to let you guys do is just take a listen so you get an idea of what this vocal actually sounds like. This is my YEAT lifestyle preset, and this is what it sounds like. This is the effect that we got. This is my vocals, and I just mixed them to sound like YEAT. I'm a fly soldier, I'm a fly troop. I'm on king high, I'm on king moon. We on X2. Come for next two. Come outside, yeah, with a gun, and we get your shoe. Okay, so obviously I don't sound exactly like YEAT because, well, I'm not actually YEAT if you didn't get the idea already. But I want to talk about the first thing with you guys, which is his use of reverb. So in these beginning tracks, I'm using an adlib track, and if we take the reverb off, you're going to notice right away that this actually sounds pretty damn terrible. So I'm going to take all of the effects off, and it's going to sound nothing like what the song should sound like. And as soon as you just add that reverb back in, it gives it the effect that it's actually laid back in the mix, and it creates a perfect melodic environment for these vocals to sit in. And that's just the use of reverb. So the way I achieve this effect is I actually used a Valhalla vintage verb. And a little secret I like using for your decay time to actually figure out where you should have that decay time sitting is this little trick called delay and reverb time calculator. So what you would do is just know the BPM of your song, which is 150. We'll type 150 in here, and it'll give us a decay time and a pre-delay time. If you want a Hall type reverb, a 2-bar reverb, you would set the pre-delay to 50 milliseconds and the decay time to 3150 milliseconds, which is basically 3.1 seconds. In this song, I'm doing right around 3 seconds of reverb decay, which, as you can see, is sitting in between Hall and large room. Now, you don't want this to be a set in stone answer for where the decay time could be, but it gives you a good idea for what sounds good. And now in this Valhalla vintage reverb, there's a mode called chaotic Hall, which just gives the reverb a certain sound to it. I also set the color to now, which gives it a bit more of a brighter sounding reverb. And I also brought this low cut up, which is basically just an EQ that takes out all the low end of the reverb, so it's not muddying up the vocal. Now let's add the delay in and see what that sounds like. So just with that delay being added, what it's doing is it's creating a very bouncy environment for the vocal. It almost gives the beat a new rhythm, which is super cool. And delays are something that's so simple but so important for a vocal like this. So what I did is I brought up the H delay by Waves. You can use the Fruity Delay 3. And if you take a look, it's really this simple. All I did is set it to 1/4. And we're going to take a look at the delay amount right here. If you look in the top left, you can see what it's exactly set at. So 2 delays, 70% or minus 7.3 decibels, which is basically just the amount of delay we're using for this adlib track. Now, the cool thing about delay is there's a lot of different things you could do. You could set a different delay time, which will give the vocal a different bounce. You could ping pong it, which is going to have it go in the left field of the stereo image and then the right, and it's going to bounce bounce around in there, so it'll sound super cool if you're going for that vibe on a song. Now we got to talk about one of the most important things for YEAT, which is the use of choruses and flangers. So in this specific song, I ended up choosing a chorus over a flanger. It just sounded great to me. I loaded up the fruity chorus, which is default in FL Studio, and we're sitting at an 88% mix level. As you can see, I changed nothing in the chorus. But if we take this off and play the vocal, all we have is the reverb and delay on this intro. You're going to notice that this is the effect that is really giving it that standout YEAT sound. Let me throw that on. So the chorus is really helping make the listener understand that this is not the main vocal. It makes it sound like either an adlib track or a double, so the listener knows that there's something more coming. This is not the main part of the song. And the next thing I want to talk about is the use of saturation in YEAT's vocals. So we're going to move over to the actual vocal here. I'm a fly soldier, I'm a fly troop. And the saturation I'm using in this particular preset is called Fresh Air, which is a free plugin. If you guys don't have this, I don't know what you're doing, but it's a great plugin. This is becoming such an industry standard in presets. It's actually crazy. But I have this thing pushing. We have it at 56% in the high air and 32% in the mid air. And if I pull this off of the vocal, so now the fresh air is off, as you can see, because this little green button's not lit up, you're going to notice that the vocal just doesn't have as much presence as it did before. I'm a fly soldier, I'm a fly troop. Play that with it on. I'm a fly soldier, I'm a fly troop. So if you're listening with headphones or studio monitors, you're going to be able to tell right off the bat that there is a very big difference in that vocal. And in my opinion, this is what really helps give YEAT that sound. It has that, it's almost harsh to the ear. A lot of engineers might say this is a bad sound, but it's an artistic taste that works for YEAT. And realistically, the mindset you should have in mixing is if it works, it works. There's no need to fix it. You don't want to engineer by the book anymore because that simply just doesn't work for the modern day sound. I also have this same preset on the adlibs. The main difference between these two presets is the use of the chorus on the adlib track. Even though there is chorus on the main vocals, it's just turned down a bunch. And then the difference in making the adlibs actually sound like an adlib track is going to be the use of all of these bus effects, the reverb, the delay, and then what we're going to move into next, which is going to be this high pitch and low pitched bus. Now there's multiple different ways to do this, but the way I do it is on the high pitched bus, I have an auto tune because it just seems to work the best. That's transposing the vocal up 12 semitones, and then I'm taking the retune speed all the way down, so the tuning of auto tune isn't actually affecting the vocal. It's just this transpose knob. And then the low pitch, it's the same exact thing, but the transpose knob is down 12 semitones. And I'm going to solo these ad-libs out so you can really hear what it's doing. So first, we're going to turn the high pitch and low pitch bus off, and we're going to play this so you can get an idea for what it sounds like without these on. And I just turned them back on, and you're going to notice the effect right away. Now you should be able to tell exactly what's going on here, but you should be able to hear a higher harshness sound, and then also I would like to describe it as like a demonic sound that's kind of laid back in the background there. But these minimal effects really add up, and this is how you get this vocal to sit at this level. And in my opinion, this is YEAT's secret to achieving that sound. Having this high pitch and low pitch bus. He uses this on all of his songs. I swear I hear it all the time. He may be doing it in a different way, but this is the way that I got it to work, and it actually sounds fantastic. If you guys want a link to this preset, a free version of it, I'll have it linked down in the description below. All you got to do is type in your email and I'll send you the free download. Before I let you guys go, I do want to show you guys the Lifestyle preset live and what it actually sounds like recording. So I'm going to activate this and we're going to kind of do a little freestyle here. All right, so this is what the preset sounds like. Let's see if we can do this. I'm a fly soldier, I'm a fly troop. I'm on King High, I'm on King Moon. We on X2. Come for the next dude. Come outside, yeah, with a gun, and we get you shoot. Pop outside with a parachute. I'm a guy and compared to you.